Hello everyone and welcome back to another hard-hitting episode of every animated movie of the year. Now I know I've fallen way behind on this series, but as you may have seen on my Twitter or Instagram, I've made a huge change in my life and packed up all my stuff and moved from the snowy wastelands of Minnesota out to sunny California. The process was definitely stressful and lengthy, but we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about movies. So first and foremost, I am going to be catching up with the reviews on Nutjob 2 and Leap, and really hoping I can catch the MLP movie before it leaves theaters. But for today, we saw the Lego Ninjago movie. This is a tough one, guys. Really is. I cracked down on the Batman movie because there really was no reason for it to be told in Legos. With the original Lego movie, that was awesome because the story was about Legos and the creativity that's involved. With Ninjago, it finds itself in a very strange place between the two, but that place is a worse place. I'll get into that more, but first let's talk about what this flick is actually about. Basically, you've got this elite team of ninjas / mech pilots who protect the city of Ninjago from various baddies, but mostly the evil shogun-looking lord known as Garmadon. The big secret is that the green ninja, the leader of the group, is actually Garmadon's son, Lloyd, who abandoned he and his mom when he was a baby. When the ninja team is forced to join forces with Garmadon, we look to see if Lloyd and his estranged father can work out their differences and be a family again. The idea of this evil overlord type guy trying to reconcile with his estranged son, I think there's a lot of potential for some interesting story stuff there, but none of that comes to fruition with this movie. Almost nothing in this film really lands or works, but its main problem, which I will discuss for the bulk of this review, is that it wants everything both ways and ends up succeeding in none of it. So here are 6 examples of Ninjago wanting things both ways. Number 1. Are they ninjas in training or seasoned heroes? The first time we meet the ninjas, they're showing off and kicking absolute ass. They seem like experts and they're revered as such by their community. Everybody knows these ninjas, including the news, which includes a Lego Michael Strahan. Something I've always longed for. But later we find out that they have no clue how to be ninjas or use their powers, so it's like they're expert mech pilots that have been around long enough to be known city-wide, but have never once addressed their actual ninja powers? So are they up-and-coming rookies learning their powers, or are they seasoned veterans who are known worldwide? Number 2, are they ninjas or mech pilots? Okay, I get it. Even Hero Yui could kick some ass when outside of the Wing Zero. And I also understand that Ninjago is a Lego toy line from the 2010s, so it probably has its own lore and stuff and reasons for them to be in giant mechs, probably because that's more fun to build than just have one little guy. But for a viewer coming in from nothing, the mech vs. ninja thing feels really confused. Number 3, are they cool or losers? So we have the classic groaner high school bullies who go way out of their way to pick on Lloyd, the main character, even making a hate song that gets played on the radio daily about him. I mean, I get it, he's the bad guy's son, but they also make fun of the whole Ninjago team, not knowing that they're the ninja force. But here's the thing. The Ninjago team are cool people. The girl is like this badass rocker chick, one of the guys is like a tough dude, one guy's a DJ, and still they're referred to as like the loser pack or something like that.
It's Garmadork and the Dork Squad!
Why are these bullies terrorizing them? Is even the mere association with Lloyd, who by the way is already kind of a cool guy in his own way, is even the association with him enough for bullies to just pick on them? Well, I guess they just did it because that's what you do in movies. The main characters get picked on to make them feel like underdogs. Number 4, and I think this one hurts the film the most. Should Garmadon reform, or shouldn't he? So the big bad Garmadon is kind of the focus of the movie. The very crux of the movie is this. Garmadon quickly learns that he wants to be a dad to Lloyd, but he won't give up his evil ways or his lordship over Ninjago. Lloyd has 2 big monologues in the movie trying to convince him. The first time it fails, the second time it works, for some reason. But we never see in the end of the movie that Garmadon was willing to not be a bad guy, so it feels really unfulfilling. Number 5, Lloyd discovers he's the leader, but he was already the leader. So the main dude Lloyd feels left out because all the other teammates have elements like ice and fire, but he's just green. He later learns in a shocking reveal that being the green ninja simply means he's the leader. which would actually be really cool if he was like the loser within Ninjago. Like maybe the red ninja always picks on him. He's like, you don't even have an element. You don't deserve to be a part of Ninjago, Lloyd. And then through the movie, while bonding with his dad, he learns to be the leader and unites the Ninjago ninjas. But instead, Lloyd's the leader in like the first scene. He's got the biggest, baddest mech, giant green dragon. He's got this crazy ultimate attack. All the other ninjas seem to love him right out of the get-go. He's always in the center of the formation. It would have been so funny if he had like a little dinky mech while all the other teammates had these badass elemental mechs. And then later on, he learns that his little crappy mech actually does something really cool. I don't know. And number 6, Legos in the real world or Legos just 'cause? So, the Lego movie could not work without it being told in Legos. Bringing in the live-action elements gave the movie one of my favorite twists ever, and they make it something so unique. Lego Batman, on the other hand, has this, the movie is in Legos because we said so, now sit back and enjoy it, kind of an attitude, which I think works for a lot of people, especially with a similar attitude coming from the Lego video games. Ninjago, however, can't choose which one it wants to do, so it just does both. There are these live-action scenes with Jackie Chan that are so confounding. Eventually, the real world comes into the Ninjago world as Jackie Chan's cat crashes into the Lego world. But unlike the Lego movie, where the live-action stuff enriches the story, for Ninjago, they just totally misunderstood why that worked, and they just put it in there because it did work. For my money, I think they should have totally abandoned the IRL stuff and just told a story with Legos, because they can. So there are my 6 examples of how the movie wanted things both ways, all of which I think really hindered the film. I'll be interested to read the actual reviews. Whenever I make one of these every animated movie videos, I never read reviews until after I publish mine. That way I don't get affected by what other people are thinking. But I will be so surprised to find that this is some beloved movie and I'm just sitting here trashing it. But I don't think that'll be the case. I didn't entirely dislike the film. The action scenes were pretty cool and they sort of gave me that Power Rangers vibe. I also really enjoyed the double meaning of inner peace. That was a really clever little part of the film. But that stuff is also few and far between in lieu of 5-minute long comedy bits that don't really land, which is shocking. As a huge fan of Silicon Valley with Kumail Nanjiani and Zach Woods in the cast, I think they could have done a lot more with those guys. By and large, I thought this could have been a fantasy action movie that the 12-year-old me would go gaga over, with a comedic punch and maybe a compelling story about a father and son. Admittedly, I actually thought this might be a sleeper hit, but not so much. So let's throw to the list where Ninjago comes in just barely above that Smurfs movie that we've pretty much probably all forgotten about. Oh man, guys, the struggle continues for this year. As I look at the list, there are some films that I had totally forgotten about. But coming up, we've got some really great looking films, so I remain hopeful. And as I mentioned earlier, I've definitely got some catch up to play, so keep it locked here on LuTunes, because I am bound and determined to catch up ASAP. So thank you so much for coming on back and tuning in, and I will see you next time, right here on Every Animated Movie of the Year. Also, why is the city called Ninjago, but also the ninja force is called Ninjago?